Hello friends, welcome back to my channel again. Today we are going to take a look at my insanely large list of the books that I want to read before the year ends. I am a huge mood reader. So I tend to buy books and then forget about the books that I bought before, and that kind of keeps on going on a cycle. So this video's point is to create a TBR that will make me accountable for all the books to be read, and that is the whole point. So here I have some 15 plus books to read before the end of 2024, and these are the books that I badly want to get into. I have divided all the books into 4 categories. The first one is the books that I'm currently reading and the books that I want to read before the autumn or fall season starts. And the other 2 categories are autumn reads and winter reads. The first one that I want to talk to you about is Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. This is my first Brandon Sanderson and this is a standalone. I wanted to check out his world, and there are huge number of books out there from him, and I just want to dip my toes and see how it is. And I just want to explore, and I don't want to commit to a huge series, so I started off with this one. And this story follows 2 sisters, one of whom is going to get married to a god, and people believe that she can stop a war. She's supposed to stop a war. So she's been sent to a faraway kingdom to marry a god and supposedly stop the war. So I am in page 100 now, and I am enjoying, but I constantly get distracted by other books, but I do want to commit to this and I want to finish this soon. The next book is a very atmospheric autumnal read, that is Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. This is a very famous book and people keep talking about this book. I picked this one up. I'm into 2/3 of the book now. I'm enjoying it. The twists and the turns and the eerie atmosphere, the secret society, everything is top notch. I'm enjoying it to my heart's content. And this story follows Daniel, whose father is kind of having a secret society where he keeps and preserves older books. And if you are a member of that society, you have to pick one book and you have to preserve it for the entire life. Like that, Daniel picks up a book written by Julian Carax. Since he had picked it up, there is a mystery attached to it, and the author's life and his other works are being destroyed by someone, and he wants to solve it and he wants to know Julian more, and it is all such a nice time. I love this book so far and I can't wait to finish it. The next is a book that was suggested to me by a subscriber, and the book is The Girl, the Cat and the Navigator by Matilda Woods. This is a middle grade book set in winter, and it follows a girl called Una, and she has a kind of neglected parents, and they don't care much for her because she was supposed to be born as a boy, and it turned out to be a girl, and everyone in her family hates her, but she wants to go on an adventure and prove herself to her father, and this is such a nice story. I'm at the verge of finishing this book, only 10 to 15 pages left, and I enjoyed this book so much. I highly recommend this. So the next set of books are all the books that I want to read before the autumn or fall season hits, and these are all have been in my TBR for quite a long time, and these doesn't fit neither in autumn nor in winter. The first book is The Wall of Storms by Ken Liu. This is the second installment in the Dandelion Dynasty series. The first one was The Grace of Kings, which I loved. I read it earlier this year. I loved it. Although I don't remember any of the character names now, but I remember the plots. I remember how vividly the landscapes and everything was described. I just loved the non-linear pattern of the storytelling, and I can't wait to dive into this. And it's going to take a lot of time to finish this, but still, I'm super excited to get into it. Next in that list is called In Order to Live by Yeonmi Park. This is a non-fiction book written by Yeonmi Park about her life. She has escaped North Korea along with her mother to in search of freedom, and I've heard that this story is very remarkable and very hard-hitting. I do wanted to know more about North Korea, and this sounded very perfect for it. So I can't wait to dive into this. I most probably will pick up this next after I finish all my current reads. The last book in this pile of books is Yellow Face by R.F. Kuang. I've been meaning to read this for quite a long time now. It has been in my TBR for so long. I feel like this is the time. I have to pick it up. And I know for sure that I'm going to like it. This is about the dark world of publishing a book, and about the politics inside it. And I'm not sure if that is the entirety of the story, but that is a very huge part of the story, and I've heard people reading it and loving it so much, and people have been recommending this so often that I really wanted to get to it and know how it is, and can't wait. So that is pretty much all the books that I want to read before autumn. Now we are going on to my huge pile of books that are perfect for autumn season and have an atmosphere. The first one is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Norel. This story follows Rika Moon, and she is a witch, and she's kind of putting a lot of all about it, and she goes to countryside of England to teach few kids witchcraft. So there she meets a librarian, and she falls in love, and there is magic, and this is all supposed to be a very good time, so I have heard. And there are so many hyped reviews about this, so I'm kind of intimidated, but I'm sure I'm going to enjoy this. So the next book is a middle grade one, and I have been keeping my eye on this for a long time, and I recently acquired this, and that is The Incorrigible Children of Ashton Place by Mary Rose Wood. And this story follows child Natalie, and she's kind of a governess, and she has to take care of this incorrigible children and keep them in line. That is pretty much all I know about this. I heard it is a very good middle grade, and it is kind of a series, but I think you can read it as a standalone too. So I am looking to explore this world of incorrigible children. The next book is one of the books that I'm very, very interested to read. That is The Outsider by Stephen King. And Stephen King writes a lot of horror books, suspense books, thriller books, and everything. So this story follows a murder where a man has been convicted, and they have every evidence, but there is one problem: he was not in town during that time. And this is going to be a kind of parallel universe or a portal kind of situation here. I think it is going to be not very horrifying, but at the same time it's going to be very unsettling and very eerie to read, and I can't wait to read this. Next is another chunkiest book I have here, and that is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norel by Susanna Clarke. Susanna Clarke is my favorite author because of Piranesi, and I have heard nothing but good things about this book. This is kind of a Harry Potterish world here, where magic system is being taught, and there are two people. One thinks that they have to keep the magic system to only eligible people, not to the commoners, and the other thinks that it should reach everyone, just like Dumbledore and Voldemort. So this is going to be right up my alley. I have been meaning to read this for a quite long time, and this sounded very much perfect for the fall. Then I have to give it a justice, the atmosphere, everything had to be perfect. So I want to read this in the September or October. Yeah. So the next book that I have here is I know nothing of, and that is The Foundling by Stacey Halls. This is a story of a missing child who's been abducted from the hospital where she's born, and I think she grows up and it is the story of her. But I've heard that Stacey Hall writes gothic literature very well, and this is my first time reading this author, so I really want to read this, and this premise also sounds very interesting, so why not? I should check. The next book is the last one of this pile of autumn reads, and that is Thistlefoot by Jenna Rose Nethercott. I know I'm pronouncing it wrong, but this is the best I can do. And this story follows Isaac and Bellatin, and they one day suddenly realize that they are going to inherit some inheritance. It is nothing like everyone inherits generally, and they are inheriting a house that can walk. So this is the only thing I knew about this. I immediately wanted to know how the story is going to unfold, and this sounded very much like The Inheritance of Arcadia Divina, which was my all-time favorite book, and I am expecting same vibes from it, and this sounds very, very autumnal. So we have come to the last pile of books, and all these books are the books that I'm meaning to read during the winter time. And speaking of winter, I always tend to read some classics during winter because in my mind, it sounds very perfect setting to read a classic. And the classic that I've decided to read in this winter is The Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. This is a gothic airy story of Jane Eyre, and she's going to a mansion or a abbey where she has to be the governess for children, and as soon as she reaches there are a lot of mystery around that castle, and it is going to be a very super fun, and I really, really wanted to cherish my time with this book, and this is a wonderful addition too. So I'm super excited to read this. Speaking of classics, I have to read my favorite author, Ellen Montgomery's work during winter. Otherwise, it wouldn't be complete. So this time I'm going to read The Blue Castle, and it's by Ellen Montgomery. This is the adult romance book she has written, and usually she writes book that are coming of age stories. Like she starts from their childhood and she goes up to their teen and adult everything. But this is straight out adult romance book, and I'm very interested to read this. It's fairly short, and I think I can get to it in a single day, and I can't wait for the winter to come. So if you have been following for quite some time, you might know that I associate fairy tales with winter, and fairy tale retellings are my favorite go-to during winter, and this is one of such book, and it is Snow and Rose by Emily Winfield Martin. I think this is a story of Little Red Riding Hood and Snow White. So I'm very excited. I've heard good things about it, and the illustration in this book are so out of this world. They are so good, and I'm going to have a very nice time when I read this with a cup of coffee and this and some quiet time. I'm just going to hit heaven. So the last two books that I want to talk are both fantasies, and I don't know much about them other than the fact that they are fantasy. One is The Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Woolley, and this is about a tribal girl, and she's trying to find her way in her own life. And there is a mystery and there is some thrilling aspect to it, if I'm not wrong. Honestly, I don't know much about this, but this sounded very perfect to read during winter time. And that goes for the next book too, which I don't know much about, which is The Mermaid and Mrs Hancock by Imogen Hermes Gowar. I have never heard of this author before and never heard of this title before. I stumbled upon this book in a used bookstore, and this immediately caught my eye. And what is there not to like about this? It has mermaid, it has pirates, it has a ship, and this all sounds summer, but somehow in my mind, mermaid is associated with winter for me. So I think I'm going to have a good time reading this too in the winter time. So that is pretty much it, guys. These are all the books that I want to read before the end of this year, and there are more obviously, and you people have been suggesting me a lot of books, and I'm keeping an eye on that, and I've been trying to read all the suggestions that you make. I've been purchasing one by one, and I'm having super fun reading your recommendations. Probably one day I might make a separate video about it. So those books are going to added in these piles of books. And this is not a very rigid TBR. This is kind of a path that I'm creating where I can pick up the books that I am interested to read, because I am a huge mood reader. These are the books that I have in my radar, and hopefully I finish at least 60 to 70% of these books. I take it as a win. So as always, do comment on my video. Are these books in your radar too? Have you read any of this? If yes, would I like them? Say all those things in the comments, and as always, let's have a chat in the comment section. So until I see you again with a very next video of a bookish content, this is Sushmita signing off. Keep reading. Bye.